Satnam Aloha, everyone. Welcome to the live stream. And it looks like I'm live. That was quite the rigmarole to get on here. And my sound is on. Great. So, can you put your human design type if you want to, and the other astro information and where you're logging in from, if you wish? So, today I want to talk about the full moon on December 26th and look at the chart here. And it's December 23rd now. So most people are going to be with their family of origin, right, during the holidays. So this is really interesting uh, gate to be activated for this full moon during the holiday season. It makes a lot of sense. Okay. So this is the transit chart right here. And we can see that the moon is activating the 52.2 right there. And the 52 is down here by the root in the root chakra. Okay, so this is the gate of stillness. It's the gate of stillness. It's the gate of, they call it the Buddha gate, right? The Buddha gate. So it's also the shadow, if we want to talk about the shadow here, it's the shadow of stress, right? So it's the shadow of stress. So it's illuminating something for humanity. And remember, neutrino astrology is about your evolution, right? It's about you as a spiritual being having human experiences and what you need to know to navigate through these times. So it's not about making your life easier or better. It's like sometimes astrology can be like that. No offense to the astrologers out there. They can make your prison a little bit more comfortable, right? I'm all about let's break out of the prison. Let's be liberated in this lifetime. So that's what I'm all about. Okay. So, and remember, this is the program, the matrix program, that 70% of these neutrinos. These are neutrinos. This is the conditioning field or the information field that we live in. And it's bombarded. 70% of those neutrinos are coming from the sun. They're bombarding the earth. And here we have this little thumbnail down here. 65 million neutrinos pass through your thumbnail every single second. So you've got trillions and trillions. And each one of these neutrinos, they're carrying information. So this is what influences humanity. And the influence, it's moving you away from your authentic self. So you want to know what your natal chart is. And I always have the in my information box below, you can see get your free chart. So you want to get your natal chart. And that's your authenticity. Wherever it's colored in, that's your authenticity. But this is the transit program. So this pulls us away from our authenticity, but we can also use this energy. As long as you know yourself, you can use this energy and harness it. Okay, so lots of people are going to be illuminated around stress. So that makes sense, doesn't it? In the holiday season, there's going to be a lot of stressed out people. That's the shadow of stress. So let's look at this, right? Here's Buddha underneath the tree, right? So what's the fear here? Well, the fear is timing, that things are moving too fast or they're moving too slow, right? So I like to look at this. I love this image here. You probably are familiar with this one. It's pretty popular, right? So it's the gift of restraint. The 52 is about the gift of restraint. It's about keeping still, right? Stilling your physical body and your senses. So that's restraint is a real gift to have, right? So here we go. We don't know what's going on, right? Here's the little bunny with the big carrot underneath, and all he sees is this little bit of green. And then he sees his buddy over there with lots of green and a tiny little carrot. So restraint, the gift of restraint, is about not giving up, right? Not giving up and trusting that that big, huge carrot is going to come to the surface, especially in 2024, with all the seeds that you've been planting, right? So if you were stressed, it's the shadow of stress. then this bunny is going to think, oh, I'm a big failure. Look at that over there. My little green is not big as his. I'm just going to give up, right? I'm just going to walk away from this. This is interfering with the process, right? So interfere. And look at that. It's into fear that you go. So you don't want to do that. And restraint is going to be a huge gift in 2024 because I looked at the New Year's chart and there's going to be a lot of panic. There's going to be a lot of fear with humanity. And you don't want to be acting from this place, right? From panic and fear. So you want to cultivate this gift of restraint, of holding yourself back, of trusting, right? But you've got to deal with the uncomfortable feelings, right? That come up with this 52. This is a pressure from the root. So where's this pressure coming from, right? Well, it's a collective pressure, right? So remember that we're all connected as a humanity and we feel one another. So we're feeling this collective pressure. That's what stress is. It's not an individual thing, it's the field that we live in, right? So there's a lot of stressed out humans on the planet, and this is a pressure. And the pressure is either to move or go into paralysis. And that's when you get completely overwhelmed by stress, right? It's deep, deep within us, right? This shadow of stress. So it's either the move and be active or paralysis, like I can't do anything. I'm so overwhelmed. So you can see here this, right? This is the modern person, the do, addicted to do, right? Addicted to do. Not so a person like this would look at Buddha over there and it's like, what's he doing? He's all lazy, right? He's lazy. He's not doing anything. He should be working like the rest of us. This is the MG generator world that we live in, right? The generators and the MGs are addicted to doing because they have so much energy, and we are living in the generator world, the non-energy types, right? Projectors, reflectors, manifestors. We're living in that world, right? So it's like he should be doing something. What's he doing? Well, thank God Buddha stopped, under the tree, because when one being is enlightened, that gives that frequency is passed into the human field of consciousness, and then that means that more and more people have that potential to be enlightened. It's like the person that broke the 2 minute mile, right? It wasn't broken until then. And then after him, then suddenly all these people did the same, right? It's moving through the morphogenic field. When one moves past the morphogenic field, then the rest of us can move as well. Okay, so let's look out for this. So let's go back to your family of origin holiday festivities that you're going to be in. So it's the 52.2. So this is the gate of stillness, right? Remaining still. And then trusting, you want to trust the timing of things. The timing of things are perfect. Everything is unfolding perfectly, right? Well, it's the 0.2, right? And this is called concern. It's called concern. So, right? So this is projection, right? So this is projection. So the two projects out that they can be still and they're concentrating, right? They're focused and they're concentrating on something. So that's going to be moving out of each person, but let's bring it to you, right? As the individual with your family. Maybe you're the black sheep, right? You're the alchemist. So you're projecting this out, remaining still and trusting in the timing of thing. Well, you're going to get projected upon, right? During your family, like what are you doing with your life, right? You have to justify your existence to the family, right? This is what are you up to? What's new with you? And all they want is a list. And then you've got to like, well, I've been doing this and this and this and productivity. And it's all about the external world, right? This is what I've accomplished in the external world. Well, if you don't have much to say because you've been doing so much inner work, you've been the Buddha this year, you don't have a lot to say, right? How can you describe what's going on inside you, all the work, the inner work you do? Because this energy here, this isn't passive. Sure, it looks passive on the external, but there's so much going on inside, right? It's a different use of your energy. It's making your energy more internal, right? So this is what the full moon is showing us. So you have to get a thick skin, right? And you need to be okay, and you need to love yourself and be okay with any judgment coming at you, right? Any projection coming at you from the busy bees, right? In your family. Okay. So the tarot card. So I didn't pick this intuitively. This goes with the 52.2. And it's the Two of Cups. And I thought that was an interesting card to have. This is usually like the soulmate card or relationship card. But how does this correlate to spirituality? Well, this is our male energy and our female energy, right? It's the man and the woman there, or the masculine energy and the feminine energy, and they're joining, right? They're joining, they're merging. So this is you, right? Your masculine and your feminine coming into unity, right? So this is like the action. Usually the masculine energy is all about acting, right? And the feminine energy is about receiving and being still. So knowing the balance of that. So I often get this question from people. Well, how do I know when to act? Right? How do I know when to act and when to be still? Right? How do I know to be still and trust and wait and have faith and have patience? Right? When you're like this, like, how do I know? How do I know just to be here and trust? Right? Well, when do I, right? And then when do I act? So you've got to be in tune with yourself. You have to be aligned with yourself. And that's why it's really important to know what your design is, because your design gives you a compass and a map of who you are. And it gives you a lot of information about where you're vulnerable to be pushed in another direction that's not you, that's going to take you down dead end roads, right? So you want to be aligned with your true self, right? Your authentic self. That's what you want to be. And then you're in tune with energy, right? Then you're in tune with the energy. The energy, nature, life force energy. And then because energy, consciousness moves through you. If you watch an animal, like watch pets, they're amazing teachers of how this works. They're not thinking about, I'm going to move now. They just move, and its consciousness is moving through them. So when you're in touch with the subtlety of your energy, then you'll know when it's time to act. When you're in touch with the subtle energy inside, then you'll know when to sit and trust and have patience, right? So this is our masculine and feminine energy coming into balance, that we need both. We've been too focused on acting, too focused on the masculine. This is for women and men, right? And not enough focused on the sitting, especially in the West, right? Especially in our Western culture. Okay, what else did I want to say about this? Well, there's another hot tip, right? It's the present. You're aligned with yourself. You're in the present moment. You're aligned with the life force energy flowing through you. You're aligned with consciousness. You're in the present now moment. That's where all the power is, right? So sometimes this is appropriate. Go, 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 and do, 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 if you're in the present moment. So you can be busy when you're in the present moment on the external, But there's a deeper part of you that's very quiet, right? And at peace. Do you see? You can be busy, 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 but there's a part of the greater part of you is just at peace, right? Your greater self. Or you could be here and then you look on the external like you're just being quiet, but there's a lot going on, right? Beneath the form, what's going on in the form. So the present now moment, that's where you need to go always. And the breath, right? The mind, because it's the mind that drags you into the not self. And that's anxiety. It's going to bring anxiety. This is the shadow of stress. And then the mind is like, you've got to do something. Things are collapsing, things are falling apart, and all the nightmare stories. You don't want to be listening to the mind, right? This full moon is telling you to sit still and have patience, right? Sit still, have patience and trust and have faith. There's going to be a lot of movement on the 31st of December, right? That's when Jupiter goes direct. These planets start going direct. But this is about sitting still. And well, how you can do this, you can learn a lot about your mind and how your mind has been driving you. People don't like to do this, right? Especially MGs and generators. They don't want to sit still because then they've got to face what's actually going on inside them, right? That they've been running away from, what they've been driving themselves, drive, 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 drive. So you're with your family of origin. That's a blessing because a lot of stuff's going to come up. So be still, don't react, right? Or run away. Be still and let it come and surface, right? Let all that stuff come and surface. And it's not going to be like buried emotions and things. And don't go into that blaming, right? My sister's making me really angry, or my mother always pisses me off. She always says this. You want to bring it back to you. No blaming, right? Because all that anger was in you before you went to the holiday dinner, right? It's like the lemon. You squeeze the lemon juice comes out. You expect that, right? No, the orange juice doesn't come out. Well, it's the same with you. The anger is already inside you, but it will get squeezed, right? It will get squeezed during this holiday. That's what I see there. Um, okay. So look at this as a gift, this stillness. I'm not going to react, right? I'm going to stay in my stillness and I'm going to trust that things are in perfect timing for me. Perfect timing for me. Okay. 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 So let's do the human design types. Okay. It's about valuing yourself too, right? This time. Okay. Because we also have the sun. I want to talk about the sun too, because that's the programming partner, the 58. This is a really interesting keynote. It's called perversion. So this is the gate of vitality, right? The gate of the joyous, your joyous energy or life force energy. So these two are connected, but the keynote here is perversion. It's called perversion. So again, it's more projection on you that you're not using your energy properly. You and everybody and their dog's grandmother has an opinion about how you should be using your energy. They think that they believe that you're perverted in how you use your energy. I know it's a strange word for that, but misuse of energy. And then bringing up, well, you should be doing this and you should be doing that. So you want to be steady in your Buddha nature, right? And just remain still. Don't react. You don't have to justify your existence. You know exactly the work that you've been doing this year. Okay, so let's go for the generator. And for this round, I'm going to bring out the ego cards. I haven't brought up the egos cards in a while. So this is the not self. So these are the dynamics of the ego. 78 dynamics. And it's my deck. So I've created it. Okay. Going down to the reflector. So generators. They've got the open and enveloping aura, and they're here to respond. And when they don't operate correctly, they're going to feel frustrated. They want to be fulfilled. So 70% of the world are generators. Let's see. So what do we have for our generator friends? What do we have for our generator friends for this one? And two. Okay. And I'll just do this to see what happens. What do we have for our generator friends, please? Okay. So the two cards you got are no accountability and go along to get along. So this is groupthink generators. And it's interesting too. Yeah, I don't want to go into that. So go along to get along. So giving your power over to the group ego. So generators that are in gatherings of people, their family of origin or friends or something, they've got to watch this. Because this is a really this goes deep in our human psyche, is longing to belong. It's the longing to belong card, right? It's just easier to go along with everybody, right? And what's the fear here is rejection, right? The fear of rejection, the fear of being the outcast or ostracized from the group, right? And then you've got to no accountability. So these are ego dynamics, right? The ego is like, don't say that, don't say that. Don't say that, don't be in truth, don't bring up that, don't speak your truth, bite your tongue. When people are, so this is a little bit different than restraint, right? So you want to check in with yourself first, right? Like check in with yourself. Am I aligned with myself? Am I in integrity? Is consciousness moving me to speak the truth? It's not coming from your mind, right? This is ego. The ego is like, oh, I got to tell them. I got to give them a piece of my mind. That's the inflated ego. And then the deflated ego is like, I have no opinions. Consciousness is moving through me, but I'm trying to stuff it down, right? My fifth chakra is pounding, but I'm going to stuff it down because I don't want to speak. I don't want to speak the truth. See? So both positions there, you're still in the capital T truth because you're aligned with yourself, you're aligned with consciousness. And it's not good when consciousness wants to move through you and for you to speak the truth, because when you speak the truth, right, that frequency is mutative, right? It's all about mutation now until 2027 and on. Mutation, and that means you speak and the energy, the environment around you starts to change and shift, right? So that may be your responsibility, is like, it's about being in tune with yourself. So this is the meditation. 52 is the meditational gate. So the best thing to do is, especially if you're with the big kahunas, right, with your family of origin, is like make sure that you're meditating in the morning so that you're clear and you're aligned with yourself, right? So and then the no accountability card. So that's the ego. Ego does not like to apologize or admit that it's wrong because it's seen as a weakness, right? It's like destructive to the ego. So maybe you're called to apologize for something, right? So it's about moving past that, making your apologies. Or if people around you and you're like, oh, I deserve an apology from that person, that could be your ego, right? So don't expect an apology from your family, right? So this is where you can get caught. You can get caught in this not self, and this is pulling you away from your not self. So again, let's talk about the generator because you want to respond with a yes or no here, right? The yes or no. Hmm. How would that work with the go along, the get along? Well, if they ask you a question, right? They're asking you a question. What do you think about this? We're talking about maybe some world event that's happening or politics or something like that. Well, you want to tune in with your sacral, right? You turn in with your sacral with yes, I'm going to speak, or no, I don't have a comment on that. Like really obey your sacral with that, especially with things that go along, the get along. Maybe the family wants this, or you're being invited to go out partying or go to a bar or something like that. You want to go to your sacral. So this is how we can get pulled into our not self, and it's not correct for me to go out. Like I'm just using an example to go out and socialize, and your sacral is saying no. You want to obey that. It's not about the mind at all, or it's saying yes. Then you go, right? And when you start listening generators, when you start listening to your sacral, then you gotta stand up, right? As a community of one sometimes when the whole crowd wants is going this way, and you're like, no, my sacral is saying to stay put, to restrain, right? I'm not going to go and follow the crowd. And you got to start to practice. If you're not good at this, like setting boundaries and not going with the crowd, right? Maybe you're not used to this. Well, it's time to practice because 2024 is going to really up the intensity in terms of the energy, and it's about you being your authentic self and being strong enough to be your authentic self. And it takes strength to be your authentic self. Um, okay. What else? What else for the generators? Mhm. And I know what I wanted to say. And have compassion for yourself. Don't let the ego can really get in there and, because you're going to fall down. People make mistakes. It's just about being human. It's about learning that maybe you said something that later upon reflection at nighttime, you're like, why did I say that? I agreed with that. And I know I went against myself. I betrayed myself. Well, you just learn from it, right? And you have compassion for yourself because this is a collective field, right? The 52, that's a collective field of stress, right? And this goes deep. It's our tribal consciousness, right? That it was dangerous to be kicked out of the tribe. And then it's like, okay, next time I'll know. I'm going to stay true to myself. And you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised actually, because when you're aligned with the frequency of truth, you're aligned with the whole frequency of the universe, because that's what the universe is truth. Okay, so good luck and keep that aura nice and strong, open enveloping aura for the generator, and meditate. That 52 is saying to meditate. Okay, so let's go for the manifesting generators. So I'm doing the ego cards this time, manifesting generators. So the MGs are filled with energy. So they have challenges with this 52, unless they have it natally, right? So this is the gift of restraint. This is about sitting still, not go, 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 according to the mind. I've got to be busy, 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 busy. The full moon is saying, no, it's time to just sit still and trust and wait and have faith, right? Things are unfolding perfectly for you. So let's see what the ego is up to, the not self, the dynamic that may be up for you. Okay. So what do our manifesting generators trying to know for this full moon? Geez, 30% of the world. There you go. Okay. Okay. So you got the "You're All Alone" card. So this is what the ego is telling the MGs. Okay. And so if you're in a group, which is so ironic, right? When we're in groups, we can actually feel more alone than when we're actually alone, like physically. So the ego, not self, telling the MGs, you're all alone. There's no one for you. No one understands you, right? And as soon as you're put in this position, as soon as you have those thoughts in your head, then you know that it's the ego, right? Because the ego is promoting separation. It's always about separation and it's always about specialness, right? No one else feels alone. No one understands me, right? That's all the ego. Um, So again, it's about let's bring it back to the full moon and restraint is don't act from this place. And so how would the MG act from this place? You'd be going for addictions, right? Addictions and this and distractions to avoid feeling this. Because there's something below this, isn't there? Right? The ego is coming out with that voice, you're all alone, there's no support for you, no one understands you. Well, underneath all of that is some buried emotions, right? And that's going to be grief. It's grief. So just grief to feel. And that's going to come up, right? When you're in holidays, bring up all of this stuff for good reason so that you can clear it up. Right? Because it will bring up those feelings of the past, when you were a child and you did feel alone and you did feel separated, right, from your family. A lot of people, especially the black sheep, felt very separated from their family, that they were misunderstood, especially if you're a six line profile too, right? That there's no one for me. But underneath all of this, when you feel it, the F word, when you feel it, you just let it up. You let it, you feel it, you don't act on it because the ego will want you externalizing and blaming and complaining and going for addictions and distractions. You restrain yourself, right? And you allow yourself to just feel those emotions that are coming up, right? And then underneath that, well, then there's peace, right? There's that fulfillment, there's peace, there's the experience of all oneness. It's the all oneness, and that you are connected to all, right? You're connected to all. Um, so you want to know your frequency there. And then the other card you got is the need to win. So need to be right? Get the lot. So there's this dynamic going on. And then the needing to win, I'm right, you're wrong, getting the last word in. This is the fighting and the conflict, right? With your possibly your family of origin. And so the I need to win, I need to get the last word in. Totally the ego. So again, you want to restrain and you don't want to react to this ego. I've got to win. I've got to get the last word in because again, what is it avoidant? What's the avoidance here? What's underneath this? I have to win. I have to win. Well, shame. Shame's underneath that. Shame in the sense of powerlessness. Again, it goes back to your childhood, right? So you restrain, sit on your hands, bite your tongue, and know that this is just my ego needing to get the last word in, and I'm going to give that person a piece of my mind, and blah, blah, blah. And all this is a mask for this, right? This is what the ego is hiding is this feeling of shame and powerlessness coming up, surfacing so that you can feel it. And then you feel it. And then you go to that state of oneness, right? You feel relaxed and nothing can get in. You're Teflon. You want to be Teflon, MG. Nothing gets in, nothing touches you, right? So you've got the two dynamics. It seems like we're getting two cards for each type now. And what else for the manifesting generators for this needing to win? Get the last word in, feeling shame. Yeah, it's all about hiding, running from those emotions. Yeah. So not listening to the mind, not listening to the mind and the ego. Also keep in mind too, if you've got an open crown, see the open head center. If it's not colored in for you, you're going to pick up on the thoughts of other people, right? MGs. So keep that in mind too. Make sure that you have some time to yourself and some space to yourself that so that you can feel yourself. Because it can feel like a major spiritual test, right? When you go back to your family of origin, right? To keep your center. You want to keep in your center and you don't want to let that ego win. The ego wins when you react and you're angry because you're stressed out. It's the shadow of stress. Everybody around you is stressed out. They're reacting. It's all coming up. The ones that don't have any spiritual practice or haven't been working on themselves are going to be so reactive during this time. You don't want the ego to win. You want the soul to win. And the soul wins by restraint, right? I'm not going to react. I'm going to keep still. I'm going to let all this craziness happen around me. It doesn't harm me, right? I've already had the experiences in the past. All your job is to keep still and then to feel, sweep as you go. As things come up, you just feel them. That's all you have to do. Okay. So let's go for the projectors. And they are 20% of the population, the projectors. They've got the focused and absorbing aura, here to be recognized and then invited, and they want to feel successful. So this is going to be a big test for you too. Very rarely, I've never heard yet from a projector that they were recognized and invited by their family of origin. So maybe if you're a projector, you can put it in the comment. And it doesn't. It can be different when you're an adult. I'm talking about when you're a child. When you're a child, did you feel recognized and invited? I haven't heard of one yet. Okay. So this time around, I'm picking an ego card. This is the not self dynamics to be looking out for during this full moon on December 26th projectors. So, so what do we have for our projected friends for this full moon? What do we have for our projected friends for this full moon? And we'll just do one more. Interesting one. Okay. Okay. So you got the warning card, and then effects, EFF effects. Okay. Okay. So we've got the full moon. Just to reiterate again, it's in the gift of restraint. It's the shadow of stress. So the warning card is a refusal to change, evolve, or heal. Okay, so it's a warning card right there. So, like I said at the beginning, how this 52 can work is projectors. The stress, this is the shadow of stress, the 52. It's a collective pressure. And it's either the pressure to move, because it's coming from the root chakra, right? That's where the 52 is. So it's the pressure to move or paralysis, right? So paralysis is like I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what to do, right? So what happens is the mind shuts down, right? Everything shuts down. Yeah. With paralysis. Yeah. And it can feel like well, a depression, right? It can be a depression. This. So do you see the two versions of the shadow, right? Move, 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 be busy, busy, busy work, or just completely shut down and depressed. Like you can't put two thoughts together, right? Or you can't move. Everything takes so much energy, right? This is also the shadow, this collective pressure. So I feel like the not self card here, let's go back to projector, is about this paralysis, right? So this is avoiding your destiny. It's avoiding your destiny, and you don't trust your intuition. Okay. And it's the divine reaching out to you, divine reaching out to you through people. The divine can work through anyone, even a stranger. The divine reaching out to you, projector, and you're ignoring it. Okay. So I feel like the full moon is going to show you where you've gone out of balance. Because remember, we've got the two of cups. This goes with the 52.2. And this is your masculine and your feminine energy in balance, right? And projectors have a very masculine aura, right? The feminine and masculine in balance. So maybe with this card, you're too much in your feminine energy, right? Too much in your feminine energy. And that is this paralysis, right? Not believing in yourself with this action. And this is the thing as projectors, it's, well, I have to be invited. I have to be invited. Well, the invitation doesn't, like it's formal invitation arrives in the mail and you've got a RSVP, right? It doesn't work that way. You can actually be invited through the divine, right? Can be invited through the divine, through an inspiration or a dream or the divine reaching out to you in some way, right? Okay. Okay. So it also says with this card, this is really interesting, this card here. It's reneging, reneging on your spiritual contract. So remember that the projectors, as we come closer and closer to 2027, the projectors are the new leaders. They're the new leaders. It's the projector generator manifesting generator world, right? That's the sacred relationship. So I would ask yourself a question, right? As a projector to a projector, where do you feel that you're reneging on your soul contract, where you're abdicating your power, right? That I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this destiny. I don't want to do this purpose. Because we have that choice. We have that free will, you know? Just ask the question. So this is what we can do. It's just like I'm going to ask my consciousness the question. Where am I reneging on my soul contract? Where am I abdicating my power, my duty, my responsibility during this time, right? Maybe there's some blind spots, right? There's some blind spots here where you're self-sabotaging, right? Where you're listening to that mind because it's challenging, right? To be a projector. It has been challenging in the past to be a projector, but it's going to get easier and easier. So let's look at the effects card. And this is not so effect. So we got cause and effect, right? There's a cause and there's an effect. But we never look, we're too focused. So this card, the ego's got you too focused on the effects. So that's the effects are what you see in the external world, right? This relationship, this job, or this, I'm seeing lack in this area and problems and challenges in this area. Those are just effects. It's everything that you see in the movie, right? But where they're coming from is right, is the cause. So what's the cause? Well, the cause is inside you, right? The cause is inside you. So the cause is inside you, it's coming from inside you, and then the effect is what you're seeing in the external world. This is what this card is saying. So we live in time, right? We live in time. The Maya is time. We live in our mind. We're experiencing the world through our mind. That's Maya. So we live in time, so we don't see the effects right away. It takes a while. So an example would be, I'll just use like a simple example here. So you're having problems with some relationship in your life, right? It's like that person is always rude to me and they don't recognize me, right? They're always trying to start a fight with me. It's so challenging to have any kind of conversation with them, and I can't really escape them. They're just kind of in my circle of friends. Like, okay, so use that as an example. Well, you're like, well, that's an effect. That's just them. Well, you have to go to your cause, right? So you go to your cause, and it's like, oh, what was okay, I'm going to reflect on my cause. Oh, well, a couple weeks ago, I was having these judgmental thoughts about this person. Maybe I was trash talking them to another friend of mine. They're this and they're that, and you've been judgmental towards them. Okay, well, there's the cause. And then the effect is you start having problems with this person, right? So that's an example of that. So look at wherever you have a challenge in your life projector and go to like, okay, I'm going to own this, right? I'm not going to distance myself from it. I'm going to say that I'm the cause, and time and space takes a while, takes time, right? And space for this to come to fruition, right? But I'm the cause. I'm the cause. And again, the hot tip is to ask the question, asking questions. Projectors, this is your power, is to ask questions. So ask your consciousness questions and you'll get the answer. You'll get the answer on the external or some insight will come to you, right? Yeah. So if you have like for example, that last example, if you have bad thoughts about something that someone, then they're going to you'll start to see that person treating you badly because we're all connected. Yeah. So these are consequences of our thinking, consequences of our thinking. So back to the self-sabotaging, right? Okay, I'm abdicating my power. I'm reneging on my soul contract. I'm not doing my purpose. This card is saying go back to your thinking, right? So whatever because I was talking to someone the other night about this. It can be an excuse for not moving forward. The ego doesn't want you doing your soul's destiny, right? So go to your thinking, and it's like, oh, I'm creating this block. My subconscious mind is creating this block. And then I've got an excuse not to do my soul purpose, right? Yeah. And back to the full moon, it takes some restraint. So don't be acting from this. This is not true, right? Don't be acting from this. Go into the power of restraint. Sit on your hands, go into meditation, right? Get your journal book out, start asking yourself questions like, how am I creating this block, right, in my life? I'm going to take responsibility for it because it's stopping me from doing my soul purpose as a projector. Because, you know, the population are going to start to need projectors to start coming forward to help guide these other types. We need one another. It's not that we're better than MGs or Gs, but we need each other. They need us as much as we need them. Okay. Um, oh, and remember the 52.2 is about a projection, right? And projectors know all about projection, right? So this, back here with the Buddha, right? The Buddha under the tree, right? And the projection and the judgment, like you're lazy, you just want to get out of working, you're making excuses, right? As a projector, because you're a non-energy type, right? So to watch this projection and let it strengthen you. I know who I am. I'm a projector, and this is just the way I am. I'm not going to make excuses for it or try to be like you, try to be a generator in MG. And when you're strong enough in yourself, then you won't get challenged by these busy bees, right? Like in the past. So just keep that in mind too for the full moon. Okay. Anything else for the projectors? And just, just balance this masculine and feminine energy. And remember, with this holiday season, wait to be invited, recognized and wait to be invited before you start speaking. Restrain the tongue, right? Restrain the tongue. And if you're feeling bitter, then you have not been restraining the tongue. You've been under the influence of stress. Okay. Okay. Anything else? Yeah. Okay. That's for the projectors. So let's go for the manifestors. A whopping 9% of the population for manifestors. Kidding. So if you just joined on, this is for the full moon on December 26th, and it's in the shadow of stress. No surprise there, eh? The 52 is coming off the root chakra, and it's the gift of restraint, right? The gift of restraint, and it's the city of stillness. So it's the Buddha gate. It's the Buddha gate. So it's giving us some information for this holiday season, manifestors, is to really embrace this gift of restraint. Okay, so the manifestors have the closed and repelling aura, and their strategy is to inform and share, and then to initiate, and then they want to be at peace, right? They want to be at peace. And so one of the challenges of the manifestors are setting boundaries. So just because you're probably going to be with your family during this holiday season, is make sure that you set some boundaries, right? Because manifestors need time alone, right? So they can feel at peace. Okay, so what I'm going to do is pick a not self ego card for the manifestors, just to be aware of, dynamics to be aware of. Okay. Okay, so what did the manifestors, what do our manifestor friends need to know for this holiday, full moon? There's one, there's two, there's three. Okay, okay. Okay, the manifestor's got three. So the know-it-all card, I know everything. This is in terms of manifestors, this is about refusing to listen to your divine guidance, not listening to your divine guidance. All right, because you don't like what you're hearing. Um, and it's also saying that your mind is filled, right? So the mind is full, there's no room for that divine guidance to come through. Right? So you're not listening to your divine guidance. And remember, that's the first step. Divine guidance comes to the manifestor, and then they inform and then they initiate. So the divine is giving you a gift of something to initiate. So to be aware of that. And why is that happening? Because you got fear. There's fear coming up. Okay. So in terms of the manifestor, the fear could be, right? I fear that my initiation won't happen, that I won't have any impact. The manifestors are all about having impact. I fear what my initiation, how it will affect me, how it will affect my family. So I'm just not going to listen to it. I'm going to pretend it's not even there, right? So there's just a fear of, well, let's bring it to its essence, right? Fear is just a frequency. It's just a frequency. That's all fear is. And what happens where we get into trouble is that the mind grabs that fear and then starts making stories and nightmares about it when it's just something moving through you. And often in our soul purpose, we have to deal with fear, right? And our soul purpose. When we start to make that step forward, manifestors, is we have to face our fear, right? We have to face our fear. So just note that it's just a frequency moving through me. I don't have to make up a bunch of stories about it. It's just like it's a frequency moving through me, right? And this makes more room for this divine guidance to come through too. And then so you got the know-it-all. I'm not listening to the divine guidance. I'm feeling fear about my initiation. And my fear, the ego is telling you that you're going to fail, right? You're going to fail. And this is the self node, right? Right there. Fear of failure. I'm afraid that I'm going to fail. So uh, the belief that you are a failure. So this is just fear of taking that initiation, right? To initiate. So just start off with the informing. Okay, I got the divine guidance and it keeps coming through. That's how you know it's the divine guidance. It's like the same message over and over and over again. So it's going to coming through. So how will this impact? Who will this impact? And then I'm going to inform, I'm going to share. Just like baby step. I'm just going to do one step at a time. You don't have to have the whole picture. That's what these cards are saying, that the ego wants you to have the whole picture. Well, it's going to look like this and this. Well, what if this happens? What if that happens? It's like baby steps. You just do one step at a time. Divine guidance. Who will this impact? I start sharing, right? And then it will be time to initiate. So don't let the ego hijack you, right? This is pulling you away from your authentic self, right? And this stops you from trying. Again, it's this paralysis for the projectors, right? So remember that it can go, it's stress. This is the shadow of stress, this full moon, the 52. It's the collective pressure. It's not coming from you. It's just the frequency that we live in. This collective pressure, the whole planet is underneath this stress, underneath this frequency of stress. So it's either to move or act. This would be like to initiate something as a manifestor, or I go into paralysis and I don't act. I just get so overwhelmed that my soul system shuts down. My mind shuts down, my energy shuts down, right? And this stops you from trying. I'm just not going to try. I'm not going to do it. And that's very dangerous for a manifestor to not follow their strategy and not initiate, because whoops, it's coming from the divine, you know? This is a divine download that's coming to you. Yeah. So you avoid going forward in life, and this creates a vicious circle. So maybe you've been putting off, right? It's been coming, coming, coming. You haven't been telling anybody, hoping it will just go away, right? But it keeps coming back, and then it keeps you in this vicious circle. So if you want to get rid of this stress, right, is start to use your strategy, right? Start to use your strategy and just baby step, one step at a time. Yeah. And there's no such thing as failure in the spiritual world. There's no such thing. It's just discovery, right? You're just discovering. Okay, anything else for the manifestors? Anything else for the manifestors? No. Okay. So let's finish it off with the projectors then, or the reflectors, sorry. So make sure that you put down in the comments if you're a reflector, because you're only 1% of the world. So they've got the resistance sampling aura. They follow the moon cycles. So they're really going to feel this moon deeply, right? Reflectors. And then when you're not operating correctly, you can feel disappointed and you want to feel surprised. So you follow the moon cycles. So, so the 52 is coming off the root right there. And this is the Buddha gate, right? So this is about restraint. It's the gift of restraint and contemplation and meditating, right? Sitting still, waiting for life to unfold, waiting for that moon to move, right? The moon moves two gates a day. So it's the full moon's in the 52.2. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna pick an ego card for the reflectors. Not self card, just to be aware of. So what do we have for our reflector friends? This full moon. What do we have for our reflector friends for this full moon? For this full moon. Just one, two. Okay. Okay. Interesting. So you got the clinging card. Cling, cling, cling. You got worrying about what other people think and suppression. And suppression, you got three of them. So the clinging card, I want you to look at your um, relationships, reflectors. What are your relationships? So this ego card, right? Your relationships. It's saying that you may be clinging on to a person, right? A relationship in your life. And there's an addiction. There's an addiction. This is so the codependency from last year, 2023, we've been really in that energy of codependency. So addiction to a person that they are your savior. I know it's difficult to face, this shadow. I'm addicted to a person, and that's why I can't let them go. And so I want to remind reflectors that you're here to follow the program. You're here to follow the program. You're here to surrender to the program, right? You're here for your soul. Out of all the types, the reflector is here for their soul, to follow their soul, not, right? Not to follow a person. No, not a person. And the thing is, we have past lives with people, and they meet up, we all meet up again in lifetime after lifetime. And maybe you did follow that person. Maybe they were your spiritual teacher, right? And then you get caught up in these samskaras, right? These tendencies, and that they can be a little bit challenging to break out of. But you, as a reflector, this is a no-no. You're not following any person in this lifetime. You're following your soul. Out of all the types, the reflector has to follow their soul, right? So let that go. And it's all about, trusting the divine. It's about trusting the divine. I have to have full trust and faith in the divine. So what I tell people is, what's more important to you? Is it that person, that relationship, or is it your liberation? That person can't go with you when you pass on, when you physically pass on, reflector. That other person can't be with you in the limo, in the passenger seat with you. You're all alone in that passenger seat. We all are. The best we can do is bring our limos together, roll down the window, and say, "Hey, how are you doing?" But we can't be in each other's limos, right? So what's more important? Is it that person? It's like a delusion of the ego, right? Or is it my soul, my liberation in this lifetime, right? Reflectors are very spiritual. They have to, they're designed to be very spiritual, to be one, right? To be one with creation. So then you got the suppression card. And this is about, okay, so let's bring it, reflector, we'll bring it to this clinging to a relationship, right? And then suppression. So not being your true self, right? Not being your true self because of this relationship, right? That maybe when you express your true self, it causes some friction in your relationship or something like that, right? And I don't like that. Well, you're in this test now, this full moon, right? To restrain, right? To restrain. Um, and restraint, remember, is not just being about, it's not about being passive. Here's the gift of restraint right here, Buddha underneath the Bodhi tree, right? Getting enlightened. There's so much going on inside that you can't see, so much energy moving on inside. So there can be a lot going on inside you, but you don't want to be acting, right? You don't want to be acting to keep this relationship, right? Because the universe won't put up with that anyway, right? Because you want to be, this is suppressing your authentic self, and this causes distortion. And that means that you can't perceive that person or yourself clearly, right? And this is like not letting your intuition through, just like the manifestors, not letting your intuition through, and then you're listening to that busy ego mind, right? The busy ego mind. And then you got the what would people think, right? Maybe your relationship is a close relationship, like your spouse or your partner. You've been together for a long time, reflector. What would people think if I got a divorce? What would people think if it was even my child or my mother? You're supposed to stick beside your parents, right? What would other people think? And this is all about judgment, being fear of being judged. And again, I ask you the question, what's more important to you in this lifetime? Is it your spiritual liberation or is it people pleasing, right? And the joke is that we care about what these people think. They don't even know who they are, these people. It's just an excuse of not moving forward on your spiritual journey, right? So, what would you do if you followed your heart and your intuition, reflector? What would you do? If I followed my soul, if I just surrendered to life, right? So just be just in the moment, commit to be your authentic self. And the relationship, life will take care of that relationship. If it's not meant to be, it won't be. And if it's meant to be, that the mirror has to shift, right? The person will change and shift. Yeah. But restrain, don't make big pronouncements. It's about restraining and letting things just watch the movie, let things unfold, reflector. But commit to your liberation, right? Commit to follow your soul in this lifetime. And that's number one to me. Yeah. Okay. Anything else for reflectors here? I think that's it. Okay. Okay. So I hope you guys let me know if you like these ego cards. I like to mix it up, right? I use the die and then these. And these are good just to get kind of deeper into the dynamics of the ego. And okay, what else do I want to say? I just want to let people know that there'll be another online retreat. I've got to get the copy up and everything on my website, but it's going to be the theme is going to be around the new year. So I'll have more specifics for that. And it's going to be quite a year next year. So just giving you the heads up. But with the online retreat, it's going to help prepare you for what's ahead. I mean, we got Pluto coming into Aquarius, but it's still going to be in the 60th right there. So it moves often. There's like these cusp hexagrams, in the wheel. The hexagram, the numbers, the 1 to 64. Well, the cusp ones are kind of half a sign and then the other half a sign. So the 60 is like that. It's half Capricorn, right? And then Aquarius, and then Aquarius. So it's not fully, when it moves into Aquarius, it's still going to be in the 60, the shadow of limitation. But then it's going to go into the 41 this next year, right? It's going to be there for a while, and then it's going to scoot back to the 60, the sixth line, and then back to the 41. And this is the star codon. So just to remember, a reminder that the new year, according to the human design system, is when the sun moves into the 41. And that's like around January 21st, 22nd each year. And, the sun is in the 60th on December 31st, right? And January 1st. And that's why New Year's resolutions don't fly so well, right? Because we're in the shadow of limitation. So, yeah, big year ahead. So it's time to really commit to your spiritual journey and commit to your strategy and authority. That's going to really help you navigate through these times. And then this online retreat, which is a really solid container to mutate. I'm a pure individual. I'm all about mutation. And mutation is like change, like real change, not like I've changed and I go back to my old self and my old ways. Mutation is like you wake up and you're different. You're completely different. You know that you're not gonna, the door is shut. You even try to get back there, like, oh, I got to get the door open and go back. The door's not only shut, it disappears, right? That's what mutation is. And this is what we're called to do, right? So if you're an individual like me, a pure individual, then this is what we're all about is mutation and sending this mutative energy out to the collective and to the tribe, right? So this is what the online retreats are about. Okay, but I'll let you know about that. And I got a little backed up this week with my live stream. It's usually Thursdays. So I'll get back on track with that. It's been a heavy week for me. You guys have probably been feeling it too. Because right now we're in the 29th degree of Capricorn. And 29 degrees is like the doozy. It's like we're coming to the end of this cycle that we've been in since 2008. So let's look at this gift of restraint and to sit and then reflect on what has been going on for me since 2008. That's when Pluto went into Capricorn, right? And we're at the 29th degree. So we're almost done, right? So just hold steady, right? Keep moving forward and be that Buddha under the tree and trust and have faith that everything is unfolding perfectly for each one of us, right? Okay. So I will talk to you later. I'll see you in the next video and probably not before the holidays, the December 25th. Okay. Okay. Satnam aloha, everybody. Bye bye.